So on this channel, I talked about why I am a minimalist, why I decided not to do a PhD anytime soon. I talked about my studies, and I told you many other stories, but one story that I haven't told you yet is my vegan story. Why I went vegan, when I went vegan, what made me go vegan, everything about my transitioning into veganism and my decision to go vegan. So I'm gonna tell it in this video, and if you're interested, you can continue watching this video. Hi, my name is Laura. Welcome back to my channel. If you're new here, I make new videos every week and I talk about veganism, minimalism, traveling, learning, and lifestyle design. So if you'd like to watch more videos on these topics, you can subscribe to my channel and you can click the bell icon so that you're notified whenever I make new videos. You can follow me on Instagram, where I share more of my daily life, so you can get to know me there as well. And you can become a patron of my channel if you want to support this channel. You can join my Facebook group and you can check out all of the links that are in the description of this video. And I want to tell you my vegan story because it's been a year since I started my YouTube channel, and one of the first videos that I ever made was 10 things that I didn't know before going vegan. And I'm super proud of it because it's been a year and I still love watching it, and it's one of my favorite videos, to be honest. And after that, I started making more videos about traveling as a vegan. I really want to go back to doing these more because now I can't travel, like we can't travel. And I really want to make these videos for you guys. And after these traveling videos, I started making my everyday, like what I eat in a day videos, and I made a video on how you can go vegan. And in that video, I shared a bit of my vegan journey, and I decided to make a whole video dedicated to my vegan journey. So if you're interested in whether I became vegetarian first or what made me go vegan, here's everything. I'm gonna tell you everything. So in 2015, I think I heard the word vegan or plant-based for the first time, and I was sitting with my mom in the living room. We were watching TV, and that was this kind of like weather channel that we were watching, and we were watching a news report or like a short program on a vegan runner, like a vegan marathon runner. And we were just fascinated by him because we were both into sports, like we liked eating healthy. We were just active and healthy, and there he was, this vegan runner, and he was running marathons, and he was vegan. Like he didn't eat meat, he didn't eat eggs, like he was full-on vegan. And that was something that blew my mind because up until that point, I had never heard of vegans. I had never seen a vegan. Like, to me, it was just like this mystery, like, wow, you don't eat these things and you still exist, like you're still alive. So we watched this program and we found him online. He had a blog and we started following him, and he kind of became a part of our lives, but we were still not like going vegan, like me or my mom. Like, we were not going vegan. We were just like, oh, that's interesting, he's vegan. Yeah, and he runs. So that was in 2015. So later in May 2016, I remember I was binge watching some YouTube videos on how to lose weight. And this is a video that I really want to make about my weight loss journey, my fitness journey. Like, it's coming. Like, I'll make it one day because I really want to share my journey with you. And I was binge watching videos on how to lose weight quickly and healthily, like in a healthy way, because I didn't want to just stop eating or eat very few calories. And I was always looking for more ways in which I could lose weight, or maybe new exercise routines. Like, I was very into this stuff. And for some reason, a video by that vegan couple was in the recommended bar, like on the right of YouTube. And it was a response to a YouTuber called Melanie Murphy. And I had never heard of any of them. Like, I'd never heard of that vegan couple or Melanie Murphy. And that video was titled Melanie Murphy Eating Disorder Freely Rant. And none of it made sense to me. Like, freely, I didn't know what it meant or who it was. I just saw Melanie Murphy eating disorder and that vegan couple, and they reacted to one of her videos. So I was curious, like, okay, what do they have to say about this eating disorder? Like, what's going on? And I watched this video and it blew my mind. I will fast forward a bit. So later in 2018, I met that vegan couple. I met Natasha and Luca, and I told them that it was this video that introduced me to them, and they were like, oh my god, really? That is one of our most hated videos. And I was like, why? And they told me the story, and they were shocked that it was this video that introduced me to their channel. So yeah, that was a bit weird to them. But like, going back to the story, I watched this video, and you can watch this video, I'll leave a link to it in the description box. And in this video, this YouTuber, Melanie, was saying some things about her diet, and they were saying things like dairy is not really healthy for you, like meat is not good for you. They were saying these things that were new to me. Even though I was following this vegan runner, he was only sharing recipes, and he never talked about how meat, dairy, eggs, or honey are bad for you, or bad for the animals, or bad for the environment. So what they were saying in this video really shocked me, like shocked me to my core, and I was like, wait, how can they say this? How can they say that dairy is not good for you? Like, I literally have to tell you what I was eating at that time. So at that time, as I told you, I was looking for every single way in which I could lose weight better, and I was doing everything that I could see that the internet trainers, like personal trainers or nutritionists, were saying that you should be doing. So I was eating a lot of dairy, like low-fat dairy. I was living on low-fat yogurts because they were like full of protein. I ate chicken every single day because it's like low-fat meat, high in protein. I didn't eat a lot of carbs, so my diet wasn't really keto, but it had a lot of animal products in it. So I was eating meat, dairy, and eggs every single day, sometimes twice a day, 3 times a day. Like, I don't think there ever was a meal in my life that I was eating that didn't have any animal products in it. So my diet was healthy at the time because I thought I was eating healthy, like healthy foods. I was like really taking care of what I was eating, and I was mindful, and I was like really good at just sticking to a healthy diet. And suddenly these two people were telling me, look, what you're eating is not healthy. So I was like, what do you mean by that? And I wasn't really angry. I was just like curious, like, what do you mean? Like, what are you hiding from me? And so I started binge watching their channel, and I think that May I watched like 60% of their videos, and they have like 800 videos on their channel. And I watched so many of them that by the end of May, I was just like, my whole life was a lie. Like, my whole life, everything that I learned, everything that I knew about nutrition, everything that I knew about what my body needs was a lie. And I was so angry, but still, I didn't want to go vegan because I was so attached to animal products. Just like everyone, I didn't want to change what I was eating and the way I was eating. I didn't want to change my eating habits, because what about traditional dishes during Christmas? Like, what about the traditional foods that I love? What about chocolate? Like, what about ice cream? I had so many thoughts about the whole veganism thing that I was just very, very confused. But what confused me the most was the health aspect. As I said, I was really, really good at sticking to a healthy diet. Like, I loved eating healthily, but for some reason, I wasn't losing weight, and I was eating the right amount of food. Like, I didn't count my calories, but I know that I was eating like enough in order to lose weight steadily and controllably. And I was exercising, I was working out. So for some reason, what they were saying to me made sense, but at the same time it didn't make any sense, because I was doing everything that these fitness gurus were telling me to do. Like, at that time I was following the most famous personal trainer in Poland, and she wasn't promoting veganism, and she was so healthy, and she was so skinny and so fit, and I was working out with her programs, and I was like, wait, so if she's not doing it, does it mean that veganism is wrong? Like, what is wrong? I was so confused. And after this binge watching stage, I decided to learn as much as I could about veganism and nutrition and vegan nutrition, because I was so into like healthy diets and sports and losing weight, and I already knew so much. So what they told me, like what Natasha and Luca told me, and the research that they were quoting, and the books and the doctors they were quoting, like, I was fascinated by it. And I decided that I was not going vegan until I knew everything I needed to know, until I knew that I wouldn't harm myself, until I knew that I wasn't doing my body a disservice, until I knew that I could lose weight and be active and be healthy and be fit. That were my concerns. Like, I didn't want to go vegan because I wasn't sure if that was going to be good for my body, and that's why I decided to learn, basically, to educate myself. And this is something that I tell everybody. If you want to go vegan, you shouldn't do it without knowing anything about it. You should educate yourself. You should know as much as you can about veganism, because that's a lifestyle change. And you want to know why. You want to know what you're going to do, what you're going to be giving up, and why. Like, you want to know everything. Like, education is key. And Natasha and Luca were saying it. Like, they were saying, look, don't trust us. Just educate yourself. Like, look at these research papers. Look at what science is promoting, and just educate yourself and choose for yourself. And that's what I decided to do. So as you can see, health was my first and primary concern. I wanted to be healthy, I wanted to be fit, I wanted to be strong, and I didn't want to harm my health. Like, I didn't want to hurt myself. And that was my primary concern. But that's not the only thing. So when I was binge watching Natasha and Luca's channel, when they were talking about health and when they were talking about the environmental aspect of veganism and of like eating meat, dairy, and eggs, they were also talking about the ethics. And that was something that I kind of knew, but also had no idea about. And I think that many of us are like that. Like, we know that we can't eat meat without killing the animal. And we know that drinking milk of another species is kind of weird, but we do it anyway. And when they were talking about the ethics, they included some drastic footage in their videos. And they were always recommending films like Earthlings and Land of Hope and Glory and Dominion. So they were always showing what is done to animals, like how they are killed. They were showing what happens to the animals. They were showing why taking baby cows away from their mothers, it's hurtful for the babies and for the mothers. They were showing how eating eggs is not ethical. And for me, that was eye-opening. But at the same time, it wasn't enough. Like, I was still like watching their videos and I was watching all of these drastic scenes, but it's just like, it wasn't enough for me to go vegan. Like, at first I would cry and I would be sad, but I was still more concerned with myself. I really didn't want to hurt myself by going vegan, and that was my primary concern. But still, like, this footage, like the footage of animals being killed, was still somewhere. Like, I was still exposed to it, and slowly but surely it made me think. Because as you know, I have a cat and I love him to pieces. Like, he's my best friend. And ever since I started making my own money as a student, I was donating to animal charities. And I decided to do so because I really wanted to help animals. Like, even when I was little and I was asking my parents to get me a cat, I was always saying that I wanted a sick cat from the shelter, and we would take care of him and we would nurse him back to health, and he would be so grateful and so loving, and we would be so happy. And my parents didn't want to do that. Like, they didn't want to adopt a sick cat from a shelter. Like, they got me a perfectly healthy kitten, and I was so in love, but still I was thinking about all of these animals in animal shelters, and it always broke my heart. Like, when I chose to donate to animal charities, I knew that people would always be supported by other people. I knew that we as humans are more likely to empathize with other humans, and so I wanted to help animals because I knew that there would be always fewer people that would like to help animals, and I was always donating to animal charities because I really wanted to help the animals. So as you can imagine, at some point I started to feel like a hypocrite. I realized that I was supporting animal charities that would help animals, that would take care of animals, that would treat animals, and animals would be healthy and alive and happy. And at the same time, what I was eating was flesh of dead animals and secretions of animals that were separated from their mothers. And I started to realize that I was being a hypocrite, but it wasn't my fault. Like, if you're watching it and you're getting a bit angry, I was angry at myself, but I was more angry at the system because I wasn't really aware of the cruelty that was happening in the animal industries, like the meat industry and the dairy industry and the egg industry. Like, I wasn't aware of it. So I thought that eating animals doesn't hurt animals. Like, we are brainwashed that way. We are told that what we do is good to animals. Like, we are surrounded by ads and commercials that show happy animals, like happy cows and happy milk and happy meat and happy eggs, and that's all a lie. Like, they don't show you how these animals are killed in order to end up on your plate, or they don't show you why baby cows can't drink their mother's milk so that you can drink it. They don't show any of that to us. And when I realized that I was being a hypocrite, I wasn't blaming myself for it. I wasn't really saying, oh my God, I'm such a bad person, because I knew I wasn't. And if you're just learning about it now, you're not a bad person if you're eating animals. But once you realize that eating animals means killing animals and hurting animals, and eating and drinking animal secretions means that some animals are killed and other animals are killed a bit later, once you realize all of that, you realize that you can't be an animal lover and still eat meat, dairy, and eggs. And that was something that was really hard for me to wrap my head around, because in my head, I was a good person. I was supporting animal charities, I had a cat, and I knew that I wasn't a bad person. But after learning about it, after seeing all of these gruesome, just horrible scenes and seeing this actual footage from slaughterhouses, I realized that every time I was donating to an animal charity meant that I was doing something good, and that every time I was buying meat, dairy, eggs, or any animal products, I was doing something bad. Once I knew better, I knew that there would have to be a point for me to start doing better, to start making better choices. And I was living with that moral dilemma for months, and my boyfriend was watching me in that stage, and he knew that I wouldn't be able to live with myself if I didn't go vegan. But still, it was a hard decision for me to make. Like, I was still confused, I still didn't know everything, and I knew that I would go vegan. I was kind of like afraid that I would go vegan because I wouldn't be able to live with myself anymore. And I was fearing that day. Like, I was so afraid. Like, I was like, okay, yeah, I think I will go vegan, but I'm so scared of going vegan. I don't want to go vegan. I don't want to give up on anything, but I don't want to hurt animals. Like, that was very confusing. Like, that time in my life, I was learning so much, experiencing so much, and just basically trying to find what I wanted to believe, or rather, like, I wanted to see what the truth was and what their reality was, and I didn't want to support what I didn't agree with. So, fast forward to September 2016, and one moment or two moments that changed my life forever. So from May to September 2016, I was experimenting with what I was eating. I was still following this like healthy diet promoted by this personal trainer that I was following, and I was trying to incorporate more healthy meat replacements into my diet. So I started eating lentils and beans and chickpeas, and I started making more balanced meals, and I would sometimes replace meat with something else. Like, I was just curious. I wanted to experiment with what I was eating. And one day in September, I decided to try being vegetarian, and I decided to stop eating meat. And at that point, it was pretty easy for me because I had already tried so many dishes with chickpeas and lentils and beans, and I was like, okay, I'm not eating dead animals, that's fine with me. And deep down I knew that I wasn't vegan, like vegetarianism still hurts animals. And I was like, yeah, but vegetarianism, like maybe it will help me for like some time. And exactly a week later, I decided to watch a speech on YouTube. And the speech I watched was 101 Reasons to Go Vegan. And I knew that the speech existed before, and I didn't want to watch it before because I was just like, probably when I watch it, I will go vegan. And as I said, I was a bit afraid of going vegan. But like a week into my vegetarianism journey, I decided to watch this speech, and it's available, it's free on YouTube. A link to this speech is always in the description of every single one of my videos, and you can watch it after my video if you want to see what I saw. And I knew that this speech wasn't really drastic. Like, I wanted to watch something that would collect all of the findings, like research findings and all of the data, and that would show it to me during one speech, because I had still been watching all of these YouTube videos and I just wanted one resource where I would find everything and where I would confront everything and make up my own mind about what I learned. And this speech was the speech that made me go vegan. In this speech, there is a clip that I had seen many times before, but for some reason, watching this clip in this speech on that day made me want to go vegan. And that was a clip of a baby cow, like a calf, being taken away from his mother. And this calf was just thrown onto a truck. The truck was closed and the truck was driving away. And this cow, this mother cow, was running after it. Like, she was chasing the truck and she was mooing and she was crying for her baby. And after watching this clip, I knew that being vegetarian wasn't enough, and I knew that I had to be vegan. I knew that I had to change my eating habits. I knew that I had to go vegan because I couldn't imagine supporting industries like these anymore. And after watching this speech, I cried and I cried and I cried because I knew that a part of my life was over. Like, I knew that I would never go back to eating animal products. And I knew that I had to change. I knew it. As I said, I was fearing that day because I knew that on that day, the day that I decided to go vegan, everything would change. And it felt like that. It felt like everything was changing. Like, everything would change and nothing would be the same anymore. And after I stopped crying, I went to Tesco and I found, I think, almond milk and some tofu and some other products, and I decided to experiment more, and I decided that I would never touch animal products again. But that wouldn't be the whole truth, because I was still addicted to sugar. And that's a separate issue. Like, I can make a video on how I stopped being addicted to sugar, and I will talk about it a bit more. But at that time, like, I was still not losing weight, and I was like very, very obsessed with losing weight. At the same time, I was addicted to sugar, and I couldn't really give up non-vegan candy, and that was a huge problem. Like, I knew that eating milk chocolate or non-vegan ice cream was still supporting the dairy industry, but because I was addicted, I couldn't stop eating it. And because it was 2016, there were not many vegan alternatives, or there were not many brands that were making good candy that I enjoyed that was vegan. And so on that day in September 2016, when I decided to go vegan, what I decided to do was I decided to go 99% plant-based and continue to eat non-vegan candy, because just as with veganism, I knew that one day I would decide to stop eating this. I would decide and I would stop eating non-vegan candy. So after watching this speech, 101 Reasons to Go Vegan, I didn't go vegan. I was 99% plant-based, and once a week I was eating non-vegan candy. And I lived like that for a year, and I remember a year after watching this speech, I went on vacation with my boyfriend, and like, I really wanted to eat one specific chocolate bar, and I found it in a store, and I knew it wasn't vegan, and I really wanted to eat it. And something in my mind told me, this is going to be the last non-vegan piece of candy that you'll ever eat. And I thought, okay, I think I'm ready. So I bought this chocolate bar, I ate it, and I never ate non-vegan candy again. I was ready. I was not addicted to sugar anymore, and I'd been eating a plant-based diet for a year, and I just realized that I'm ready for the next step. And so in September 2017, I went vegan, and that's the story. I went vegan in 2017. In 2016, I went plant-based, and that's the whole transition. That was my transition from not being vegan to being plant-based to then becoming vegan. So to conclude, I've been vegan for almost 3 years now, and I've been plant-based for almost 4 years now, and I feel amazing. I feel incredible. The fittest I've ever been. The happiest that I've ever been. I'm the healthiest I've ever been. And my conscience is the cleanest it's ever been, and I couldn't be happier. And since becoming vegan, I became an animal rights activist. And as I told you earlier in the video, in 2018, I had a chance to meet Natasha and Luca, and I thanked them. And I took part in an activism event with them, and since 2018, I've been an animal rights activist, and I love talking about veganism. I love making videos about veganism. I always share what's on my heart when it comes to animals and how animals are treated and how to go vegan. Like on my Instagram, you can always find something about veganism there. And that's why I'm making this video right now, to share my story. Hopefully some of you will be inspired by it. And if you want to, you can check out all of the resources that are in the description box below. You'll find more speeches, more documentaries that you can watch right now. And I will share my favorite YouTubers in the description box as well, so you can go and check them out, and they are amazing. If you want me to, I can make videos about what I learned since becoming vegan, how my life has changed since becoming vegan, what it's like to be an animal rights activist. Like, I can make videos about these things because I really want to share my story, because this is how we can learn from each other, and this is how we can inspire one another. And I love being inspired, and I like inspiring other people. And if I had to tell you 5 defining moments of my life, going vegan would be one of them. Going vegan changed my life, and I'm the happiest I've ever been. Make sure to like this video if you enjoyed it, and make sure to subscribe to my channel if you like the content that I'm making, and also let me know if you're vegan and what inspired you to go vegan. I love learning about other vegans, and I love finding out what made you go vegan. So yeah, feel free to share in the comments. Thank you so much. I'll see you in my next video. Bye!